Hey guys, Iron here for this week's episode of Gacha News. You may be wondering where Nolar is. Well, some of you may know he's a very busy man and has a lot of interesting tales when it comes to the art of dentistry. Nolar has been given the task of doing Toshi's cleaning. Obviously this is a very important operation and only a dentist of Nolar's caliber is able to handle this matter. Instead of paying Nolar with real money, Toshi offered him chrono crystals. And of course, what whale would give up that kind of opportunity? Desperate Gacha players, what are you going to do? So, I'm going to be filling in for my boss this week. As always, if you enjoy what you see, please remember to give the video a like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications to stay informed for everything 5.9. With that out of the way, let's get into this week's news. For all three whales watching, listen up for this story. NCSoft, a video game company known for games like Lineage M and Lineage 2M, sued a player who spent $3.5 million on Lineage M after they rolled back one of their patches. NC implemented a patch attempting to close the gap between whales and middle-class players. In doing so, they increased the probability of getting better patterns, which are basically stat boosts to a character. There are players who spent millions of dollars after the patch because of this, assuming that the patch would have been permanent. After rolling back on the patch, all currency that was purchased was refunded to the players, but now patterns are at a lower rate as they were previously, forcing players to use the currency for something that has very low probability. Not only this, players weren't entirely refunded in diamonds, the currency used for patterns. They were given half diamonds and half holy water, which has zero value in the market according to Reddit. The player previously mentioned that spent $3.5 million was furious with the changes and decided to take it to NC themselves. At first, the player called NC's customer service, but it was closed due to COVID-19. He then went to NC headquarters 3 times to speak to an executive, but no one showed up. Outraged, the player blocked the entrance to the headquarters parking lot. No one at NC came still, but they did call the police on the player. NC had the option to either reach a settlement in court or sue the player. Spoilers, they chose the suing option. The recent events have caused quite the uproar in the Korean video game community. Keep in mind that if NC would have refunded players fairly, controversy like this could have been avoided entirely. Hopefully in the future they will do so, but that remains to be seen. F's in the chat, boys. Another game is going to the Gacha graveyard. Valkyrie Crusade will be shutting down May 30th. For those that have never heard of Valkyrie Crusade, it had a run of 8 years, which is pretty impressive in the gacha world. It was a game where you could collect cute girls, battle, and build your own city. The game has recently seen an influx of low-scoring reviews after its 8.01 update, making changes to the battle system. Players criticized the battle system changes for ruining certain cards' viability and not properly explaining what changes had actually taken place. Whether or not this was the tipping point for the game's eventual shutdown is unclear, but there is a possible connection. Musume Pretty Derby by Cygames just released last month for JP. The game was in development hell for a while, but it's been doing well and there's already talks of the game coming to Korea and mainland China. Since the game is expanding its reach so quickly within the first month, it wouldn't be surprising if there was a global release down the line. We have a YouTube short on the channel if you're interested in getting a taste of what the game is like. Its premise is out there for sure. You basically train and race these horse-like anime girls, and of course they've implemented advanced technology into the models, aka jiggle physics. The game is available on mobile and PC for JP currently, with versions for Korea and mainland China coming as well. It's also been announced that more overseas versions are on the way, so hopefully global players won't have to wait too long for this one. Ni no Kuni Crossworlds has recently announced that it'll be up for pre-registration. The game is being developed by Netmarble alongside Level 5 Games. You may know Netmarble for games like Grand Cross and Lineage 2 Revolution. The title will be made using Unreal Engine 4 and will take place in the Ni no Kuni universe. So it's safe to assume characters throughout the franchise will make an appearance. The MMO RPG will feature a score from Studio Ghibli composer Joe Hisashi that will be performed by the Japanese Philharmonic Orchestra. For gameplay, players will be able to choose up to 5 classes, with kingdom customization also being one of the game's main selling points. Kingdoms will play a big part in the game, and more details about its invasion and defense mechanics will be revealed as we get closer to the game's release. Currently, Ni no Kuni Cross Worlds is announced for Asian regions for Android and iOS with no word of a global release at this time. Rewards for pre-registration haven't been disclosed yet, but if you're interested in getting a head start, you'll have to wait until pre-registration opens up on April 14th. Crash Bandicoot has made quite the comeback in recent years, and the franchise isn't showing any signs of slowing down. The Manic Marsupial just had a mobile release developed by King called Crash on the Run, which has seen solid success so far. On March 25th, the game had 8.1 million downloads, with that number rising ever since. The title is a mobile runner with your common jumping, ducking, and dodging these types of games are known for. There's infinite levels that pit you against bots or other players, seeing who can get the farthest, with finite levels used for story. Yes, this game actually has a story, and it involves Crash and company thwarting Dr. Neocortex yet again, who has gotten control of all dimensions. With this plot, the developer is able to utilize all the familiar baddies and bosses Crash is known for. There's also some serious fan service given to Crash fans. One sub-boss cut from a Coco level in Crash Twinsanity is included, as well as giving other villains extra story. Players can expect tons of skins to unlock, but they aren't purely cosmetic. They give Crash an added bonus to boot. With story, skins, multiplayer, and a decent soundtrack, fans of Crash and mobile runners may want to give this game a try. Crash on the Run is available worldwide for Android and iOS devices. Feel like gacha games haven't been Plus Ultra recently? Well, you're in luck. My Hero Academia Ultra Impact is now available for pre-registration. The game will feature 3v3 battles using 3D models of the heroes from the series. In the game, players will be able to activate characters' quirks with one hand, reliving iconic scenes from the story on the go. Players will have their own customizable hero base where they can watch unique interactions with the heroes they've collected. As of now, the game is only looking at a JP release for Android and iOS. But with the popularity of the series, it would be surprising if it wasn't brought to global at a later date. To pre-register for the game, visit the game's official Twitter page. For every 10,000 registrations, 50 hero gems will be rewarded to players, which will be rewarded up to 10 times. The game just reached its Reach Week campaign goal, netting players another 200 hero gems, giving a lot of summons to look forward to. You'll definitely see a lot of coverage of that game here at 5.9 when the game eventually releases. Make sure to stay tuned for our summons and thoughts of the game in the coming weeks. You may have thought you heard the last of War of the Visions Final Fantasy Brave Exvius in last week's episode, but oh no, there's more. The game is going to be having a collaboration with Final Fantasy VII Remake, which is timely with Final Fantasy VII Remake Integrate on its way in June. In the collaboration, waifu martial artist Tifa and ex-soldier Cloud Strife will be making an appearance. Beyond the initial announcement, little info has been revealed about the collaboration. The big takeaways revealed so far are that Tifa is obtainable for free, with Cloud only available on a limited time banner. Currently, the event is JP exclusive, but there may be hope of the collaboration getting a Phoenix Down coming to global in the future. Right now, global players can participate in a Final Fantasy X event that operates similarly to how the Final Fantasy VII one will work when it drops. Players can obtain Tidus just by logging in with Yuna being banner exclusive like Cloud will be. War of the Visions Final Fantasy Brave Exvius is available worldwide for both Android and iOS devices. That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime is getting a new mobile title that is supposed to come out sometime this year. Information about the title has been scarce so far, but it does already have an official website up and some screenshots on the game's Twitter. The game will feature town building in some form with RPG elements as well. Fans have compared the upcoming title to Grand Cross based on the game's stunning visuals. It'll be interesting to see if the game will be able to rival the game's graphics when it eventually releases. As of now, the game is set to be a JP exclusive for Android and iOS, coming out this year with no word of pre-registration at this time. For news of any updates about pre-registration, make sure to follow the game's official Twitter page and website for updates. For my last story of today's episode, I'll be talking about some news of big proportions. Looney Tunes World of Mayhem is adding the quintessential character to the game. Big Chungus himself. Look at him. Look at that face. What an absolute unit. Do I know what this character will do? No, No, I don't. Does anyone care? Absolutely not. It's Big Chungus. That's the story. I'm out. Actually, before I forget, this Looney Tunes game is made by Scopely, and if that doesn't ring any bells, let me remind you. They are the same developer that works on Marvel Strike Force, and what are they doing during the time that game is having a meltdown during its anniversary? Adding Big Chungus to Looney Tunes World of Mayhem. Yeah, God help Marvel Strike Force. Now, I'm going to throw it over to my co-host Sly to wrap this week up. Take it away, Sly.
Thank you, Iron, and glad to have you this week. Global Grand Cross has gotten the new Valenti Mark II unit. Just to quickly recap what she does, her passive reads increase the hero's pierce rate and critical damage by the value equal to 50% of the hero's crit resistance. Applies when entering the battle. Her first skill is an AoE Sever, which is triple crit chance, same as Sario's AoE skill. Her second skill deals single target damage and nullifies skill effects, including ultimate skills. It does not affect stance or recovery skills, however. Valenti's ultimate damage deals AoE damage and increases damage dealt by 50% and decreases damage taken by 50% for 3 turns. The banner is the same as JP, so if you are missing any OC units or just want to collect, then this is the banner you might test your luck with. Alongside Valenti, Global also received the Tower of Disaster rerun, as well as the new 7 Disasters event with the new Valenti, Camilla, and Evil Lilia bosses. On top of this, there's a special event final boss with Gilthunder, Hauser, and Grimoire as bosses, which have new costumes for Mono and Lilia in the exchange shop. Dragalia Lost is receiving the April Fool's event from last year, where we are greeted by the wonderful and lovely doggo, the Vagabond Pupper. Rather than the event only being around for one day, it is now a permanent event, so if you so choose, you can pet the doggo 24/7. There will also be more improvements to the event that will be mentioned in the This Month in Dragalia notice that will be released at reset on April 1st. Today is also the last day for the Gala Note banner, as well as the last free multi-summon on her banner. Tomorrow, Friday, April 2nd, will be the start of the Alberia Summon banner. There will be 3 free multis available for his banner, 1 each day. More information for what element and weapon Alberis will also be included in the This Month in Dragalia notice. Pokemon Masters is wrapping up its 1.5-year anniversary with its final Pokefair banner of the celebration, Diantha and Gardevoir. As previously mentioned in the last week's Gacha news, Gardevoir is a Fairy-type striker style unit, so she will be outputting a lot of damage very quickly. Alongside Diantha and Gardevoir, the Latias Legendary event is out as well. The typings needed to beat this event are Dragon, Fairy, and Dark. Dark is not all that prevalent in the event, as the only Pokemon weak to Dark is the Alakazam's side enemy. The key to success in this event is debuffing a lot. So Pokemon like Champion Iris, who has 2 debuff moves in her kit, or Signasuit Leaf, who debuffs the enemy's defense and special defense stats, also helps out a ton too. This event lasts until April 14th, so be sure to test out your teams against Latias. Barry and Empoleon received their EX upgrade. Since Barry is a striker style unit, his sync move upgrades into an AoE attack rather than a single target. Given that Barry was able to output a lot of damage before he got better units, he can be a lot better now. Lastly, the Easter event begins on April 2nd, and Rayquaza's legendary event will rerun starting April 8th. With this rerun, Rayquaza will receive his full sync crit along with free 5 out of 5 sync move and 20 out of 20 potential level. Thank you DNA for going back and buffing these legendaries to make them viable in today's content. That is all for this week's Gacha News. I'm your co-host Sly, signing us off here at 5.9 Gaming. Come back next week for more Gacha News here on the 5.9 Gaming channel. Have a fantastic weekend, everybody.